earliest days of his ordination onwards, Luang Pa Wat Paknam devoted the best part of his time to training himself in meditation. He meditated daily without exception and roamed from temple to temple in quest of knowledge concerning the proper way to meditate. In his 11th year as a monk, he found himself at Bot Bon Temple, Bang Khu Wieng Nonthaburi. In the middle of his rainy season, he reflected on the vocation to ordain he had had in his heart since the age of 19. He realized that although he was now in his 12th reigns, he still had not attained direct experience of any small part of Buddha's enlightenment. He thus felt inspired to strive to the utmost on the full moon day of September 1914. When he returned from alms round that morning, he organized things to minimize any remaining worries in his mind and made his way to the main chapel to sit for meditation. He made up his mind that if he were not to hear the sound of the midday drums, he would no more move from his meditation mat. He meditated using the mantra Samma Arahang until he started to experience extreme pain throughout his body. He endured the pain by virtue of the vow he had made and eventually managed to transcend the pain. His mind became more serene until it came to a standstill at a single point at his diaphragm, appearing as a bright sphere, the size of a yolk of an egg, steadfast and joyous at his center. The same evening, having completed his various duties, he returned to the main chapel a second time for meditation and again vowed, O Lord, impart to me the Dhamma which you attain on the day of your enlightenment. If my enlightenment will be of virtue and benefit to Buddhism, then please, O Lord, transport me to the greatest Dhamma. I shall be thy champion to maintain and uphold the greatness of thy teachings. But should my enlightenment be in vain, of no benefit to thy teachings, then, Lord, I will sacrifice my life in this meditation as the only offering I have for thee. The bright, clear sphere from earlier that day was still firmly established at the center of his body, and now became brighter and clearer at his center. It expanded and became as bright as the midday sun. The sound of the ancient words, Majjhima Patipata, or the middle way, were mysteriously to be heard at the center of his body. He was able to see a bright spot at the center of his body, and he expanded the sphere, enlarged, and disappeared. He whispered to himself, it's so hard like this. This is why no one else could manage to achieve it. Sensation, memory, thought, and cognition, all these things must be united into one single spot. Once the mind is still, it ceases to be. Once it ceases to be, the new one can arise. Stopping his mind continuously, he was able to attain Dhammakāya, or body of enlightenment, a body which had an appearance similar to Buddha image with the lotus bud as its topknot, but completely clean and pure like crystal. Luang Pa Wat Paknam revised and further refined his inner experience until at the end of his meditation. The vision of a temple appeared to him, which he recognized as Wat Bang Pla, where he had studied in his youth, and it occurred to him that this must be the place where he must start to spread the Dhammakaya tradition. At the end of the rainy season, Luang Por Wat Paknam transferred to Wat Bang Pla to teach the monks residents there. He was able to train 3 monks and 4 lay people to attain Dhammakāya in his footsteps. On the banks of Bhasicharoen Canal, there's a temple called Wat Paknam Bhasicharoen. In 1916, the position of abbot at the temple had been vacant for many years. His Excellency, Somdet Phravanarat of Wat Paknam, who was the monastic governor of this district, consecrated Luang Por Wat Paknam as the new abbot so that he wouldn't have to continue his nomadic existence. Luang Por Wat Paknam reluctantly accepted the title with the intentions of remaining acting abbot for only 3 months, but eventually his position was made permanent. Taking on the duty of governing Wat Paknam was a heavy responsibility indeed for the new abbot, because neither the monks nor the devotees accepted him at first. It was only a minority who cooperated. The rest conspired to slander and discredit him. Often they were drunk and disorderly. Sometimes they made attempts on his life, even going as far as to try gunning Luang Por Wat Paknam down in front of his congregation. In spite of his dangers, Luang Por maintained, "We monks must never fight nor run away, but must persevere in our pursuit of good deeds. This is the only way we can win at all times." He had to endure in the face of multitudinous problems and hindrance while at the same time developing the temple in every way by encouraging the monks and novices to study both the scriptures and meditation. The numbers of monks in the monastic community of Wat Paknam gradually increased. Luang Por Wat Paknam fulfilled his long-standing wish to open a college for scriptural studies and a temple refectory. He supported the spiritual education of monks and lay devotees alike, and gave training in meditation for the congregation on a regular basis. His perseverance in teaching Buddhism, making the knowledge and inspiration to meditate known in ever-broadening circles of society. Luang Por Wat Paknam meditated consistently and used his knowledge of meditation to lead continually more subtle research into the true nature of life and the world, especially to quench the sufferings of the human condition. He built a special building at his home to his meditation research, calling it the Meditation Workshop. It was designated to be used for meditation research by 2 teams working in shifts of 24 hours a day. Only those who had attained Dhammakāya would be able to help with such research. The reputation of Luang Por Wat Paknam and those doing meditation research spread far and wide in Thailand and abroad. There were even faithful Buddhists who traveled from overseas to ordain as a monk and train themselves at Wat Paknam. The first ever foreigner to ordain as a monk in Thailand